Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm calling this meeting to order. My name is Pete Sines. I'm Mayor of the City of Laredo and Chair of the Laredo Webb County Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, otherwise known as the MPO Policy Committee meeting. Today is February the 22nd, 2021, and it's 1:30 p.m. We're meeting virtually. I'm here in my office at City Hall. The meeting link, if you care to view us or join us, is laredotx.swagit.com/live. And also you can view us on public access channel Spectrum TV, channel 1300. In order to adhere to the current public gathering guidelines, this meeting will be held in a virtual meeting format. Citizens wishing to provide public comment may phone in their comments during the meeting or submit them electronically, and you can do so by going to website www.laredo.mpo.org/contact-us /forward. So US/forward. Again, could we have a roll call, please, to see if we have a quorum, please?
Yes, sir. Ms. Briones?
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the committee. Honorable Judge Tano Tijerina. Honorable Jesse Gonzalez.
Present.
Honorable John Galo. Honorable Mayor Pete Sines.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Gutierrez, Ruben Gutierrez.
Good afternoon. Present.
Honorable Dr. Marta Martinez. Honorable Vanessa Perez.
Present.
Mr. David Salazar.
Present.
Mr. Humberto Tito Gonzalez.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, for the record, you do have a quorum.
And Mayor, the judge has also just joined us. Mayor, you're muted.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for those comments and for calling roll. If we have anyone wishing to make comments, this would be the time to call in. And the number is 956-794-1623. And you'll be allowed 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, Mayor, I know we have somebody waiting for a call, but before we turn it over, just want to reiterate, if your mic is not on mute, if you could please mute it during the meeting. That's to preserve the audio quality. Even if you can't tell, it may affect the audio quality for the room, for the viewing public. If you forget to do that, I may mute you. I don't mean to be rude, just want to keep things good for the public and for the meeting. With that said, Mr. Mendive, do we have someone calling in?
Yes, Honorable Chairman and members of the committee. I have Mr. Cliff Killam on the line. I'll go ahead and pass him over. Mr. Killam, you may speak now. The committee can hear you.
Welcome, Mr. Killam. I know you have an agenda item, and you can also partner and either make your comments now, or you could actually come on board when the RMA person comes live. Whichever way you want.
I'm happy to speak now, Mayor. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Cliff Killam. I'm calling on behalf of the Killam family and Killam Development. And I would just like to thank the RMA and the MPO members for the opportunity to hear about the Vallecillo Road project. What this project is about is helping to create an east-west connection from Mines Road to I-35. I believe that it will be something seen as a key strategic asset for our community that will be complementary to the World Trade Bridge and a valuable asset that will help to our economic vitality. As a partner in this public-private partnership. We'll be contributing all of the right-of-way 100% for free, as well as contributing $5 million as part of this project. And just want to thank you all for your consideration and continued support.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak, or have they called in, Mr. Kirby?
If they do, we'll alert you if any additional
Okay.
members of the public call in.
Okay, moving on to the action items, and that's item A, approval of the minutes for the virtual meeting held on January the 19th, 2021. Do we have any modifications or changes by any of the commissioners or council members? And if not, is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Jesse Gonzalez to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Council Member Vanessa Perez. Discussion. Not heard. All those in favor say aye. Or show by raising your hands.
For the
Yeah,
record,
yeah.
This is here, and I.
Okay. Yeah, for the record, we now have Council Member Dr. Marta Martinez, and he votes aye along with the rest. Any opposed? Sound off or show of hands. None heard, none seen. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Then item B, approval of the mayor's appointments to the policy committee. We have Council Member Ruben Gutierrez and Vanessa Perez, who are now with us.
So moved, Mayor.
Yeah, there's a motion by Dr. Marta Martinez to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jesse Gonzalez, and closely seconded also by Judge Jatano Tijerina.
Mayor, point of order.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
You had Councilmember Vanessa Perez approving a motion before she's even a member.
Oh, well, that's true. No, it was, no, who was it?
The second,
Marta Jesse, I think.
second was Vanessa Perez.
No.
Minutes. On the minutes.
Oh, the minutes, okay. No, you're correct. Yeah, on the
So let's
minutes.
approve this and we can go back and just approve the minutes.
Okay, let's, call for the question on this one, and then we'll go back for the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Show of hands or
Aye.
sound off. Any opposed? No hands and no verbal opposition. So motion carries unanimously. Let's go back. Is there a motion?
Before we leave this item, Mayor, could you just, on the record, designate which of these appointments will be the Mass Transit Board representative?
Yeah, Ms. Perez, because I know she's very, well, either one very highly qualified, but I think Ms. Perez has asked to have more participation, especially in those areas. And I would appreciate that. Thank you. Going back to the approval of the minutes, point of order, and we'll take it. Yes, go ahead.
Make a motion to approve again.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Marta Martinez. A discussion? None heard. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? None heard, none seen. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that, Commissioner Gale. Moving on to C, receive public testimony and approve resolution number MPO 2021-02, adopting the proposed revisions of the 2020-2045 Laredo Metropolitan Transportation Plan. And one is amending Chapter 10, subsection entitled Operation and Maintenance of a Unified Transportation Program Projects to include Table 10:2A entitled Roadway and Bicycle Pedestrian Operations and Maintenance Costs. What says the committee?
If you would like me to give a little context on this, Mayor, I can.
Right, we touched on it last time, I believe. Yes, but go ahead.
Yes, sir. We're including this table in our plan as recommended by the federal government when we had our recent certification, which is our recent review of how we're doing things here at a local level, making sure we're in compliance. And one of the suggestions that they have is that we move towards doing more performance-based planning, that we look at the actual results of for example, here are some safety measures and that it affect the decision-making process. So we included this table as per their recommendation. And going forward, we'll be including more performance measures in the type of plans that we put together.
Okay, anything else? Is there a motion?
Mayor, is this, the public hearing has already been opened, correct? We don't need to reopen it today?
No, sir, it is, you're correct. It's been open and we're closing it today. We could still receive public comment today, but we typically with our charter, we open it, it's open for a period, and then this is another opportunity, but it's the opportunity now to vote on it.
Okay, I make a motion to close the public hearing and approve resolution number MPO 2021-02.
Okay, there's a motion to close and approve and seconded by who?
Dr. Martin.
Dr. Marta Martinez. A discussion? Not heard. All those in favor say aye or show of hands. Any opposed? Show of hands or sound off. Not heard. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. The next item is D. Have received public testimony and approved resolution number MPO 2021-03, adopting the proposed amendments of the 2021-2024 Transportation Improvement Program, otherwise known as TIP. One is the deletion removal, excuse me, of project CSJ 0018-05-089, intended to provide for the replacement of a bridge structure on IH-35 at Universal Drive with an estimated total project cost of $125,323,000. The project letting date was fiscal year 2024. And now, it says TechSite has requested the project be removed from the fiscal year 2024 and moved to fiscal year 2025 in order to ensure statewide fiscal constraint. I think it's pretty clear.
It's moving 1 month, correct?
That's correct.
What's your question and what's the answer?
The question is, it's moving 1 month from August to September.
Right. No, it's
That is correct, Mayor. This is Tito Gonzalez with TechSide. That's correct. We're moving it 1 month from August of 2024 to September 2024. So 1 month, but that 1 month is moving it outside of the 4-year tip.
Yeah.
okay, and it doesn't do.
I guess your physical, your year, right? Your fiscal year?
It's 2025, yeah, September.
Yes, Judge. Our fiscal year ends on August the 31st. Correct.
Okay, that's so really it's a 1 month delay, correct?
That's correct, Mayor.
So moved on this item.
Medina. And seconded by whom?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Galo?
May I be heard?
Okay, Commissioner Galo seconded. Yes, discussion, go ahead, please.
Thank you. So a couple issues here. It looks like we're moving it completely off the tip. Is that correct? By moving it that 1 month, we're moving it off the tip?
That is correct.
So like when we're moving it off the tip, we have, I think both the county and the city have significant interest in this area. It's one of our fastest growing and fastest developing areas. I do think that getting it done within the 4 years is something that we should all be looking at right now. I do understand that fiscal that we're dealing with fiscal shortfalls because of the pandemic. That said, when we're looking at what regions in our city and our county that are developing, this is one of, if not the most rapidly developing areas in the city. This falls squarely within my district and Commissioner Galo's district, I believe, as well. And what we're looking at here is a very large problem that we inherited, where we don't have enough parallels to get off of Uniroyal and get onto I-35, and it's affecting our ability to be competitive from a port perspective. And so I'm very concerned about pushing this back and actually removing it. I think that it needs to stay exactly where it is right now. And if funding becomes available, I mean, we already had the funding. So if funding becomes an issue, then we can bring it back again. But removing it from the tip, it to me is a mistake. This area is prime for development, and we already have a problem right now with 18-wheelers not being able to exit. And so I would I would ask the MPO Policy Committee to side with me on this and to maintain our direction of keeping it on the tip for 2024, unless there's some absolute reason why we have to. This area needs this development. It needs this infrastructure to get trucks out of it. We get calls all the time about Uniroyal and the problem that it presents. And that's all I have right now, Mayor.
And along those lines too, once you remove something off the tip, isn't there a risk there that they not get back on the tip? Following along the lines of, and maybe Mr. Salazar can speak to that.
Mayor, this is David Salazar, and Council Martinez. We are sensitive to your comments and your remarks. So this becomes a booking issue for us, not only at the Laredo District, but statewide, basically trying to balance our books when it comes to what's allowed for us to let. Removing it from the STIP does not remove it from the UTP plan. Remember, the UT plan is a 10-year plan. TxDOT's 10-year plans where the project is funded. We're simply denying it 1 month because we do have to meet certain lettings as TxDOT as a whole, not only in Laredo, but as a statewide. We are committed to this project. There is no risk of this project going away. We are committed too far down the road on this project and contemplate removing this. It's just merely a bookkeeping cleanup for us. And when I say us, I say TxDOT in general statewide. It is on the UTP. It is going to get done. And hopefully between now and 2024, we're always looking different possibilities. Things may happen where we can accelerate the project, but we're only talking about 30 days. It is remaining in the UTP. There is no risk to remove this project at all. It is just bumping up 1 month from the 4-year STP plan.
Mayor?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Judge.
How many, remind me, David, how many are on the tip right now? How many of these projects are on the tip?
The TIP is a 4-year plan that's committed. Dollar-wise, I'd have to pull that figure out, but we have several projects on here. Again, I don't want anybody to get scared. I don't want anybody to think this project's not going to get built. It's just mainly to keep in order with our larger TxDOT picture as a whole when it comes to letting capacity that the state is allowed by legislature to put out there. It is not going to get removed.
And that's kind of where I'm asking. That's kind of where I'm heading to, because I'm very much. I move the motion, but I'm very much in agreement with Doc here on this one, Dr. Martinez. But I do want to see what other ones can we move. Because this is a very, very important one. So what other projects can we move to make y'all's budget or whatever y'all want to do, make it look like? That's what you're asking for, basically.
Yeah, I think we are getting hung up on the removal. Maybe that's too harsh of a word. The project is still a go. It's a book.
Deletion's even worse of a word. It says deletion removal, so that's
right,
what's affecting all of us.
Yeah. So no, it's in the UTP. We have design committed to it. We have everything committed to environmental clearance. It's moving forward. Again, if something were to happen between now and then, we'll be able to bump it up. We can do that. It's just a bookkeeping cleanup for us, just so we can keep within the mandates that we have our force on a statewide level, not just at a district-wide level. Currently,
can you take off something else?
Of this magnitude, I don't believe so. It'd be several projects.
Guys, this is Tito Gonzalez, TxDOT. So this project was actually selected by administration, TxDOT administration, to be removed, as David mentioned, due to the magnitude. But I do want to mention, we made sure to clarify, because I felt the same way, that deletion and removal was a very harsh word to use, to note that it was only being moved 1 month. We are currently finalizing the development of the schematic and working on getting environmental approval. We will be moving to a public meeting sometime in early summer on this project. So we are continuing to develop the plans. We are moving forward. As Mr. Salazar mentioned, we will have to reevaluate the TIP in August as the new TIP as a new four-year tip comes in, which will be FY22 to FY25, it will get put back into the tip. It is going to remain funded, and we are continuing to develop plans so that we can let it as soon as possible.
Mayor,
So if I'm hearing you correctly, in August, if this is still off the tip, we can bring it back and put it on the tip?
That is correct. It'll go into the tip because now the tip will go from 22 to 25, so it'll get picked up in the new tip, the new tip and stip.
So in essence, what you're saying, basically, let's eliminate those harsh words and assume it's postponed, correct? I mean, it was just postponed for 30 days. I can't
Well,
believe
I'm going to do this, Mayor, if I may. I'm going to amend my motion, but to reflect, to remove the word deletion and removal, and to bring this back and put this back on the tip in August. That would be the motion that I'm moving.
Okay, well, no, hold on. We still have a motion, a second, so you're...
Yes, sir. I'm the one that moved the motion, so I'm amending my motion to reflect.
Oh, okay.
I'm amending my motion to reflect, to take the words out of deletion and removal, and basically just go ahead and put this back on the tip, prioritizing it back on the tip in August.
Okay, who's second the motion?
Galo, Commissioner Galo.
Galo, okay, and I presume Commissioner feels the same way. Okay, so there's no motion.
Mayor,
The motion is canceled, and now we take up another, this new motion. Let's go ahead.
if I can just underscore what our text officials are saying, this is not in any way affecting the funding. However, the removal of this from our current tip is time sensitive. We don't have the time to go back and do this again and go through the process. But it is, even if we change the wording, we're doing the same thing, and that is we're taking it out of the tip. It will go back on the tip when we update our tip for the next period.
Okay, do we have a second? Commissioner Galo? Okay, seconded by Commissioner Galo. Further discussion? None heard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item. And that's E, receive public testimony and approve resolution number MPO 2021-04, adopting and supporting the Texas Department of Transportation 2021 targets for federal safety performance measures. Mr. Seidman.
Yes, sir. Just as we spoke about, let me just review something on the agenda very quickly. Yes, just as we spoke about before, we have the federal safety performance measures that were recommended to us from the Federal Highway Administration and TxDOT. And this resolution provides support for that ongoing, that we continue, as I mentioned before, that when we make our plans and policies, that we use performance and safety planning when we're doing this. So that's simply what it is, very similar to the item previously. Mayor, I'm sorry, you're muted.
Yes, I'm sorry. Do you want a motion to close and approve? Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a
Motion to
motion?
close and approve resolution MPO 2021-04.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Judge Tano Tijerina. Discussion? None heard. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? None heard. None seen. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to F, receive public testimony and approve resolution number MPO 2021-5, providing support of the development of the Vallecillo Road project. I think we have your man that's going to speak to this. Is that correct, Mr. Stein?
Yes, sir. We have the members of the RMA here to provide a presentation. I would just encourage everybody who's not speaking to mute so that we have good audio quality for this.
Okay. Yeah, welcome, Mr. Brown. I presume it's Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir, Mayor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, members of the MPO Policy Committee, my name is Jed Brown. I'm the chair of the Webb County City of Laredo Regional Mobility Authority. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. We are asking for your support of the Vallecillo Road project in the form of a resolution. Vallecillo is a new location roadway, 2.7 miles in length from FM 1472 connecting to Interstate 35. Vallecillo Road is a public-private partnership, the first of its kind to our community, involving the Webb County City of Laredo Regional Mobility Authority, the City of Laredo, and the Killam family. We have a PowerPoint presentation. I see it's up. Mr. Schneidman is going to help me by forwarding through it. So it's no secret right now that industrial trade and transportation are the lifeblood of our community. The road projects that are close to the bridge crossings with Mexico, the industrial space in the area, all these things are the highest priority to keeping the lifeblood flowing. Kirby, if you could skip to slide 3, we'll take off from there. Thank you. If you look at the upper right-hand corner, you see an aerial view of the location of Vallecillo. What's shown in purpley blue would be the 50 acres of right-of-way that's being donated, as you heard earlier, by one of our partners, Cliff Killam. Approximately 50 acres, a little bit more actually when you look at the corner clips, 150-foot width right-of-way. If you look at the four corners, what I'm pleased to report is that the Killam family has already pledged to donate the necessary right-of-way so that there is no issue in the future with construction of an overpass at 35 or whatever connections are needed for flare-outs at the Mines Road. The last thing we'd want to see is to have a big convenience store truck stop go in and then have to condemn or purchase it later. So I'm grateful that the Killams are willing to do that. In this area, you have 11 industrial parks and 4 residential subdivisions that all would use this road, in addition to all the traffic that would be possibly coming south or north on the Mines Road, or let's say south from Uniroyal at 35. This would be another connection point to get over quickly to the Mines Road. It would be their first option as they head south. The bottom shows 150-foot right-of-way of how that could appear with the 5 lanes and the right-of-way on the side. Next slide, please. Important to show support for what we've been working on. This project was initiated back in spring of 2015. The MPO actually asked the RMA to sponsor the project, and we took it on. Since that time, we have received resolutions of support from the Chamber of Commerce, the Laredo Economic Development Corporation, the Laredo Motor Carriers Association. All 3 of those entities are strongly behind this road project. We've also received a letter of support from the Association of Logistics and Forwarding Agents, known as ALPHA. We passed a resolution of support, we being the RMA, for the Vallecillo Road project. And then this past summer, working with the city, we presented during the budget workshops and received the agreement to move forward with an interlocal agreement with the city of Laredo that was executed on September 18th, 2020. We've also initiated a memorandum of understanding with the Killam family in October. Because the Killams are a private organization, we couldn't have a 3-party or tri-party ILA. We needed to set it up things the way that it's been done as far as the MOU and the ILA with the city. We had a really important meeting on January 8th of this year. Congressman Henry Cuellar sponsored the meeting. We have his support for this project. He set up the meeting along with the RMA, with key officials from the city, key officials from the county, and TxDOT, along with Jerry Schwebel, who is very involved with trade, as we know, and transportation in our community. One thing that became very, very clear in that meeting is that we needed support from the MPO to help us continue to move Vallecillo forward, specifically to create it as a high priority project. If you look at item 8 on this list, Vallecillo has already been shown to be high priority through 4 previous studies. I don't necessarily have to mention them, but you can see them on your PowerPoint presentation. The next slide, which would be, I believe, slide 5. Let me have a sip of water. Given the proximity of Vallecillo Road to the World Trade Bridge and this area in general, I'd like to refer to it as the economic hub of Laredo and the fact that we are the #1 overall port in Texas, the #1 land port in the United States of America, and the #4 combined port in the United States, we have to do everything we can to keep transportation moving in this area along the Mines Road, be it Loop 20, be it Milo, be it Killam Industrial, hopefully Vallecillo in the not so distant future. It's critical to trade not only in Laredo, but in Webb County, but our entire state, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. 50% of all the trade in this area goes across the bridge in very close proximity to Vallecillo. An interesting stat is that 60,000 vehicles per day travel in the area near World Trade Bridge, as opposed to 58,000 along Interstate 35. A lot of people don't know that stat, but the Mines Road is trying to perform as a highway, but it's not designed as a highway. So we need to do everything we can to create access back and forth between the Mines Road and Interstate 35. 60% of the traffic on the Mines Road is industrial traffic, tractor trailers. That stat is not shown anywhere else in the state, where you have 60% of the vehicles on a road like this that are actually commercial type vehicles. I know that 60,000 vehicles a day would lead to complaints, particularly for those of you that would be elected officials on the Mines Road. I've said it before, I'll say it again in this presentation. I don't see it as a problem, I see it as a gift. We're lucky that we have that transportation issue and that we need to come up with solutions to fix it. We believe that Vallecillo is a solution. The next slide, the benefits of Vallecillo Road. There's certain things you have to check the boxes on in order to move a project like this along. First and foremost is safety. There's not enough access points between Mines Road and 35 if there's serious problems out there. I'm sure EMS, the fire department, the police department, the sheriff's department, all look forward to having more roads to connect the two to get back and forth if there's situations that promote emergency travel. Mobility, the whole area will pick up additional flow across the Vallecillo Road. And then you've got economic development, jobs, and increasing the regional tax base. When you look at these 3 or 4 items, again, this doesn't just benefit Laredo and Webb County. It benefits the whole area by being able to move goods across it. I heard Councilman Martinez earlier talk about the area a little bit to the north. I see it as a parallel. The whole area is the industrial developed area for our part of town, for this part of town. And we need to continue to promote as many roads as we can in the area to continue with the flow of traffic. The next slide, which is a map. Okay, if you look at it, I refer to this as the what's missing slide. If you see on the lower left, you'll see 59, also called 69, also called Loop 20. As you go to the north, you see Milo, which largely behaves as a frontage road to Loop 20, Killam Industrial, and the proposed alignment of Vallecillo. If you were to go 3.6 miles north of this, you'd get to Achar. 15 miles north, you'd get to the next closest existing that's currently developed road, State Highway 255. I think it's really important at this time to say that we as the RMA strongly support the Achar project. We're very excited that the city and the county and TxDOT are working together to get that road done. It's vitally critical to our community that Achar moves forward. We don't oppose it, we openly support it, but we also see Vallecillo as critically important too. Next slide. What's shown here is that Vallecillo is not proposed to be a dead end. If you look at where it goes from green to red, at some point, I don't know when, but at some point, this could be the next loop outside of Loop 20 before you get to the outer loop. None of us have a crystal ball or a timeline to know when that could be built, but Vallecillo's extension around, based on its location where it hits 35, is the logical connection for a looping road, in our opinion, to get back around to Highway 59. The next slide.
Jed, before you move on, if I could just make a comment.
Yes, sir.
Vallecillo Road, the portion that's shown in green, is in our thoroughfare plan for the city as an arterial.
Yes, sir.
It's currently shown as an arterial, and the update to the plan that we're bringing to the council tonight keeps it as an arterial. The portion that's in red, although not exactly drawn the same way, is also in the thoroughfare plan. We do also anticipate that.
Thank you, Lawrence. Yeah, maybe it was more on my end, but I started panicking since this meeting was already starting. So I had to move somewhere else.
Ramon, yeah, I think your mic is on, Ramon.
Yeah, sorry about that. But we also anticipate that continuing through with connectivity as well. Like Jed pointed out, there is, when you get that far out, we're going to be continuing to update the Thoroughfare Plan. So that exact diagram may change, maybe closer to this in the future. But right now we are anticipating the same thing, that Viacio would continue.
Thank you, Mr. Schneidman. One thing that came up when we presented to the technical committee related to that particular slide is that some county officials saw Viacio Road as a +2 in that when Life Downs is improved, instead of traffic having to go west to get to Loop 20 to get around town, if Viacio Road is built and loops around, certainly traffic could go a little ways east and actually be able to take a road to the north, or when it's not shown to the south, but I would have to assume it would also continue south of 59. And for traffic leaving an event at Life Downs, it is another way for vehicles to get north and south in our community. Next slide.
Would you like to take a look at our Thoroughfare Plan real quick, just to see how that's drawn on the city's plan?
Yeah, if you'd like to put it up, certainly.
So as you can see, we anticipate Viacio in red as an arterial to continue in red and to have that connectivity down to 59, and as well as other major roads, not all arterials, but other major roads in the area for connectivity.
And thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that shows it maybe a little bit better than ours shows it, the map that we have in the PowerPoint. What's important too is that there is connectivity through the Viacio Road project going east towards the ports of Corpus Christi and Houston, since so much traffic is generated or goods come out of that from east to west. This is another looping road to get them back around to the bridge, possibly helping to alleviate some traffic on I-69, or to get, this may be a road built to get them around to Uniroyal, depending on when the Laredo Outer Loop is built. We're going to have a presentation on Thursday from TxDOT at our RMA meeting on the Outer Loop, and we look forward to hearing that presentation. But this is potentially the next loop between Loop 20 and the Outer Loop.
And if I can, I'll just point out a couple more things that are relevant, because I know Councilmember Perez had a comment about this. Viacio Road is not designated as an industrial. It will be an arterial to serve all types of traffic. So it's not classified as strictly for industrial traffic. It will be a regular arterial for the city, and it's anticipated that would continue as well in the future if that goes to 59. And as you mentioned about a loop, of course, we have Hachar Parkway that's getting built. It is also anticipated that would continue to provide another loop. And then the best plans, there are two options that TxDOT currently shows for a future outer loop. This shows one of those options. We didn't need to put both, we just needed to show one. Of course, all of this, we will update this Thoroughfare Plan regularly, at least once a year, probably more going forward, whereas previously it was updated less frequently. We'll continue to take in the best plans and recommendations and projects like what the RMA is doing with their studies and what they're proposing in private-public partnerships going forward. Thanks, Jed. Sorry for the interruption.
No, thank you for pointing that out. Those are all good points. The next slide. For the MPO members, I'm sure it's nice to have somebody present to you that's not coming to you asking for money. We're asking for your support in the form of a resolution. We're not asking for money from the MPO. This project is estimated at $41,471,000. That's construction, PS&E, and land estimate. We've been able to raise $14 million of cash, $4 million from the RMA, $5 million from the city of Laredo, and $5 million from the Killam family. The funding gap is $17.471 million. I saw the figure that was presented at the workshop, $17.5 million. I'm fine with that. We have raised 58% of the funds necessary to build the road. The next logical step for us is to go to the state and ask for the money. In order to go to the state, we believe, and be successful, we need this resolution of support. That Viacio Road is the highest priority unfunded project. It's rare. I don't, we saw 16 projects presented at the workshop last week. I venture to guess, and they're all important. anything in our community that helps get transportation around is important. But I venture to guess most of them don't already have right-of-way pledged for it, in addition to considerable funds that have been raised for it. So we as an RMA have considerable skin in this game. We've spent somewhere between $380,000 and $400,000. Most of that spent before I became chair. But this was our original project that we took on as an RMA. Now we're pleased to continue running with it and hopefully get it done sooner than later. The next slide, which is second to last, we've already talked about 1 through 4. Item 5 is stuff that we finished by December of last year with geotechnical and traffic studies. So now we're working on the commitments to close the gap. That's why we're here today, asking for a resolution of support. Next slide says questions. But before getting into the questions, I'll pull up. We had submitted a draft resolution to the MPO on February 5th with the language that we believed needed to be seen based on our meeting January 8th with TxDOT, specifically comments by Deputy Executive Director Mark Williams. We didn't discover until last Friday, that the resolution had been substantially changed. We didn't know that. If we'd done that, we would have brought it up sooner to the attention of MPO staff and members. But we are comfortable with the wording of the resolution, but we do ask that one sentence be added in to the resolution, and it would be added at the conclusion of the third whereas. The wording that we would like to see, that we believe TxDOT Austin needs to see is, and I'm going to read it aloud, the Vallecillo Road project is the highest priority project consistent with the MPO's goal that is not yet fully funded for construction. That is the language we believe Austin needs to see. And we ask that you hopefully support this project with the resolution with that wording.
Jed, can you help me highlight the area where you'd like to make the change, where you're proposing to make the change? Is it the?
I believe it fits. I believe it would fit in at the conclusion of the third paragraph there. It says, and the Vallecillo Road project is consistent with the MPO's goals, comma, and then with the addition after that. And you can help me, Kirby, if the wording doesn't make sense after I read it to you as far as the and, but I would ask that it be comma, and the Vallecillo Road project is the highest priority project consistent with the MPO's goal that is not yet fully funded for construction.
That wording sounds fine. Of course, that would be a decision of the policy committee if they were to make that type of declaration.
Yes, sir. We understand that. And I'd like to point out, we wouldn't, if a char wasn't fully funded, I wouldn't feel comfortable asking for this wording. We know how important a char is. And again, we support it. We believe both projects are tremendously important to our community. And given that we've got so much already put into the Vallecillo Road project, we believe that it will alleviate a lot of the problems of the congestion that we're seeing on the Mines Road to get traffic back and forth to 35. So that would conclude my presentation. We're here to answer questions, I believe. Part of the RMA team, Melissa Montemayor is here, Tony's here. If there's something technical in nature that I may not be able to address, I would ask them to help out if there are questions. But again, we appreciate you all allowing us to present. We certainly hope we receive your support today so that we can set up our next meeting with Bruce Bugg, having really all of our ducks in a row to push for this money to get this road built. So thank you very much.
Mr. Brown, thank you very much. I'll add one quick comment and turn it back over to the mayor for questions and comments from the policy committee. The joint meeting that we just held with TxDOT, the RMA, the MPO, and the City Council and County Commission, we sent out a survey, and that survey allows you to put ranking of unfunded projects. So in addition, if you want to edit the resolution today for that stronger language, the other thing you could do, if it does reflect your priority, is please fill out that survey, and you can rank, the Vallecillo project is in there, you could rank it as number 1. That would send a strong message if the elected officials together, city, county, RMA, MPO, are making that statement, which is one of the reasons why TxDOT why Mr. Gonzalez and David Salazar and myself wanted to get that survey out to you. So please, it's been emailed out to all of you. If you don't have it in your inbox, please contact me. I'll get it to you. That would be very helpful for ranking those unfunded projects for when funding does become available. And VICEO is on there as well. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Steidman, and thank you, Mr. Brown. Yes, I see Commissioner Galo. Yes, go ahead, please.
First of all, congratulations. We hadn't spoken since you became chairman, and glad to see you all moving along. I mean, this is a no-brainer. I don't even know why you had to make a presentation to us. I think the MPO has been pushing for it for quite some time. I know the Killam family has been very cooperative in this. I did have some questions before, but I saw where Sarah Road does connect. That was a big deal for me. I remember very on meeting with Rowley and trying to get that, lined up with the intersection, because originally it didn't line up with Muller Boulevard. All that's lined up, right? It's going to be with that intersection, correct? Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Again, so whatever you need from us, we're there. Like I say, this is a badly needed road, and I think everybody from La Bota is desperately waiting for this road to be built, to be able to, I know it's going to be overcome by traffic from trucks, but I think it will definitely be a shortcut for La Bota and probably revitalize that area over there. Well, I was going to ask you, though, what about there was some matching funds originally are usually promised to the RMAs. I know this is going to be actually your first project, I guess, to be able to break ground. For some reason, I remember $8 million. Has that still been committed, or is that still money that you all would have access to?
As it's been explained to me, there's approximately $8.94 million that was set aside for us at creation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not money that sits in an account with us. That money resides with TxDOT.
Correct.
Melissa Montemayor is still helping me find that money, but we're told it's there. So our plan would be to access those funds to use for this project. If for some reason there's a hang up there on accessing those funds, we also have funds that we have in a separate account that we could use if we need to for the project. One thing, yes, sir, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Representative Raymond could help you on that. I know he was pretty vocal about that at the beginning when it was set up. So,
thank you.
Okay. And again, no brainer. You got all my support, and I'm sure I don't think anybody, like I say, I don't want to say wasted our time, but this was something that we didn't need to see. We're all for it.
I really appreciate hearing that.
So that's your motion, Commissioner Galo, that we
move forward as quickly as possible. Yes, sir.
To insert that language in that resolution. Okay.
I'll second that to include the language.
Okay, and seconded by Jesse Gonzalez to include the insertion of the language in the resolution. A discussion.
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to support what Mr. Galo said, and.
Could you unmute your mics if you're not speaking, please? Thank you.
I just want to express my support as the District 7 representative. I know the RMA has put a lot of effort into this. They did hold a planning session at the Muller Elementary School about a year or 2 years ago, and they pulled a bunch of people together and asked us all what our priority was. And I personally organized residents in the area to attend, and VICEO was the road that we all agreed was going to be the one that we wanted to happen as quickly as possible. And so we're already behind schedule on a lot of the projects in District 7 to alleviate the traffic and help with the trade community. So this resolution that they're asking for, if they just need a little modification in it, I say we give it to them. So that's my input.
Thank you very much. Also too, from my end, please, so the survey will correspond to this. Please fill out that survey as asked by Mr. Steidman. So this way it'll be further justified by whoever attended that meeting. And I'm also in favor as well. I think the mere fact that the city committed $5 million and there's a gap there, I understand that gap, considering other projects that we have, the other gaps are in the millions beyond, probably 100 million or more, for the next project that we may have. So this gap, if it comes to fruition, which I hope so, is a smaller gap that we can fill, and it would serve a tremendous benefit for the entire city, more so the Mines Road area, to alleviate traffic. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I hope everybody can hear me. I'm on no longer on Wi-Fi. Can everybody
Yes.
hear me okay?
No, yeah,
Okay.
you sound fine.
Thank you. So I'm completely in favor of this project. I think that we all are. So like Commissioner Galo said, it's kind of not to say waste our time, but we're in full support. We've been in full support of this. And if they need the tweaking of the language, that's fine. And I think the beauty of this project is really what it does for the city of Laredo going forward, right? So it alleviates a problem that we currently have now, but it also leads to the development of Vallecillo to the east. And that right there is the key to the growth of Laredo. And so in addition to all the work that's been done south, I think Vallecillo heading east, which is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is a commitment that that we've at least verbally have gotten, really lends itself to a huge boom for our city. And so the quicker we can do this, the better. So I'm completely in favor of this, and thank you, Chairman Brown, for presenting this to us. But in actuality, I think we've been ready to go on this road for a while.
Okay, anything else by anyone else? And if not, call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Any
opposed, sound off, or show of hands? I don't see any, and I don't hear any. So it moves. What is it? It's approved. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And we'll make sure that change occurs in the resolution language.
Okay, moving on to G, discussion with possible action on the HR roofing. Yeah, last time we all had some questions and concerns, as well as to the status, timelines, and that sort of thing. Yes, could we ask, is it Mr. Cuellar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Good afternoon, Mayor. As a follow-up to the HR Ruthinger, as far as Webb County, we have our consultant online right now. He's going to bring us an update to the environmental and any pending work that's needed. His name is Mr. Richard Seitz. He's with Dannenbaum Engineering, and his sub-consultant, Brad Hamer, with Amatera Consulting.
Okay, also and Mr. Chavez, I think we also called for Mr. Chavez to give us a title report on the right-of-way acquisition, but we'll start with the Dannenbaum people. Yes, sir, go ahead, please.
I have just a brief update on where we are on the project. Currently, we're held up on the environmental, and we received an email from TxDOT Chris Kloss back in October 19th, and at that time he requested some additional environmental work. Subsequent to that, I submitted a request for a supplemental based on the funds necessary to perform that work. So where we are right now is that we're on hold awaiting approval of that supplemental. Once we get the approval of that supplemental, then we can continue with the work. We'll have to resubmit a resubmittal of the environmental assessment. TxDOT has said that they will do no further review or approval of the EA until all of the environmental issues are fully addressed, meaning that the results of the archaeological investigation will need to be known first. The EA will also require revision of the section on water resources due to changes in the navigable water rule that went into effect in June of last year. These particular changes are beneficial to the project in that they eliminate most of or all of the water crossings from the permitting requirements. So that was a positive there. While we have the ability to revise the EA section now, we have not yet done so, in part because the archaeological issue has not been resolved, which obviously is withholding funds from us to perform the work. Following this activity, the only thing that's left here is a potential public involvement, wherein we may have to have a public hearing, although at this time we don't think that's necessary. but TxDOT still retains the right to have it if they want it. On the schematic work, we completed and submitted 100% on that. And after we had submitted and everything was final on our end, we got some additional comments back from TxDOT, which are very minor in nature, which I've agreed for our staff to complete again once we get approval on the environmental supplemental. That's where we are today, gentlemen.
Okay, let me refresh our memory. Maybe someone, maybe the county, or my understanding way back then was that there was a matter of $300,000 that the county was gonna put up and then get reimbursed through TxDOT. So you're saying that this is beyond that $300 mark, $300,000 mark? Am I correct in that? I know it's been at least 2 years or so, but apparently you're saying it's a question of money now. So you all need more money. Is that it?
That's correct. To fund the work on this additional work that TxDOT wants, which is in the Hachar portion, which is the city part that we have with the Verity Corporation. So my supplemental went to Verity Corporation, and from there, I presume it went on to the city of Laredo and is awaiting approval there.
Okay, my understanding too, if I recall, and I could be corrected, was that when this situation arose, the HR trustee, which is now I think that entity that you mentioned, it was going to be responsible, because I remember specifically stating that, you know, any amounts over and above, for whatever reason, because we always anticipate that there's going to be some more money is lacking, that entity would pick them up, would be responsible for that. And I don't know whether that language carried into, whatever arrangement we had as a city with them. I'm almost sure it did, but I'm a little, so this is a big wrench in a way. If this is going to stop, how much money are we talking about, Mr. Richards?
$142,140, $174.
Okay, so it's sizable. TxDOT, any?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is Tito Gonzalez, Director TPND for TxDOT. Another thing that, since Mr. Sides brought it to the table, another thing that is holding up the progress of this environmental is that currently TxDOT and Webb County do not have an active agreement with each other. The agreement expired last year and has not been renewed. So at this time, we cannot proceed or allow any work to proceed that can be reimbursable from the county at this time as well. So that further convolutes the situation. What we can say, we have been meeting with the city and the county to come to a solution, and we have proposed a solution that will allow TxDOT to complete the pending environmental work on this project to get clearance.
Yeah, hold on. There's some background noise. I don't know if it's your mic or someone else.
Mr. Sites, I think Mr. Sites has it. Can you mute your mic, Mr. Sites? Hello, can you hear me better? Is that better, Mayor?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I don't know how much of that you heard. We're trying to come up with a solution that will allow us to expedite the environmental clearance on this project. As I noted, currently there is no active agreement with TxDOT and the county, which would allow them to get reimbursed for any funds that they use. You are correct, Mayor, in stating $300,000 in CBI funds were allocated to the county for that work. Of that $300,000, we have already reimbursed, I believe, up to around $220,000. So there's about $80,000 left to be reimbursed. Unfortunately, there is not an active agreement that we currently have with the county since it expired. The solution we brought to the table is for TxDOT to take over the environmental, the pending work, to expedite it. But obviously that will involve a amendment to the current agreement we have with the county. And we will be sending them a letter this week to proceed with that solution should they choose to. But again, that is at the discretion of the county.
But it's going to the legal side. Is that really an amendment, because the contract is non-existent now? It would have to be a reactivation, correct, of the contract to include whatever you're proposing?
That is correct, Mayor. As far as that contract being, it unfortunately could not be reactivated. So what we would do is complete the work, and the other amendment, the other contract would basically, AFA would basically end with whatever funds were distributed at that time.
So if I understand it correctly, then, but how about the 80? Can you all make use of the 80 to finish up whatever we need?
That is yes, Mayor. That would be the current plan for us to use the current 80 that was left in CBI funds to complete the work and expedite the environmental clearance.
Okay, and the balance, you all would consume, I guess, or you'll pay for it. In other words, we'll take the 80 and that'll be it.
That is correct.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. County, I guess, county judge or whoever.
Mr. Mayor?
I do.
Go ahead, Judge.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Oh, I was just going to say, this is the first I hear about that. I don't know if the judge knows anything about it. I don't know. I haven't heard anything from our county engineer on this. We got to do a better job of communicating. TxDOT, David, anybody there, MPO, you gotta make us aware as soon as this happens. Maybe somebody was again. So I'm gonna backtrack and see on our end. But these lapses are not acceptable. Whether on our side, your side, wherever. I think we need to be, just a better job of being on top of it and making this stuff go on, because this is crazy that the agreement lapsed. We need to fix that. This guy's been sitting there waiting for environmental, and I know that was happening. I remember, I want to say October is when they got an issue on wanting to do additional environmental because of Indian artifacts or something. I don't remember what it was, finding carbon or whatever it was, old burn pits or something. So anyway, this just goes on too long. We can't keep dropping the ball like this. And so I'll check on my end, but please, guys, if you all are aware, you got to make us aware, please.
If I may, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Judge, go ahead, please.
I was hoping Commissioner Gaylor would cool me off, and he didn't. I'm just as probably even more mad than he is, and it really disappoints me because, here we are. Once upon a time, not too long ago, by a Seal Road was a thought, was a dream. Now all of a sudden, it's becoming more reality than our Char-Ruthinger, and we started that a long time ago. Guys, we should all be ashamed of this. This is unacceptable. There's no reason why. It seems like we're kicking down the can of the road just further and further and further and further along with stupid little details that we're overseeing. We need to get back on track and get this done. We need via Seals Road 100%, and we need a Char-Ruthinger 100%. This is not acceptable anymore. And if it happens to be because of the county situation, I will swallow that and I will take responsibility for it, and that's not going to happen again. But we have to start moving forward. This is an embarrassment. This is embarrassment to all of us. We should be, because this is all we're doing is just prolonging this situation. We need it now, and let's move forward. That's my comments. Thank you.
Okay, so the way to move forward, Judge, I think we need that contract with TxDOT. So the sooner the county can get with TxDOT, the sooner they can start their work on what's remaining, and hopefully that won't take too long.
Well,
Can I add?
if I may, Judge, Mayor, is Mr. Luis Perez Garcia on the phone, on the line?
Mr. Perez Garcia. Oh, go ahead, please.
Can you give the judge and myself and Commissioner Gonzalez, well, the whole court, can you notify us tomorrow on every single thing that we need to have done to bring this up to date, please?
Yes, sir. By all means.
Can I speak after?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to add to that because I just got off of a meeting with Mr. Salazar and Mr. Gonzalez about an hour ago or two, and I specifically asked about this road, and they didn't say anything about an environmental holdup. This is the first I hear of it now also, and I agree that this project is way, way overdue, and we need it like yesterday. And so I don't know where the breakdown happened from a few hours ago where I wasn't told anything about an environmental problem, and now there's an environmental issue and an additional funding needed. So I agree that we do need to be kept in the loop on all of these, new developments and make this road a priority because it's way past schedule, and our community is really hurting in that area. It's hurting our trade, it's hurting our ability to grow, it's hurting our community, our residents. And so it's something that we need to make a priority and include everybody that needs to be included so it can get done.
Going back to text, David, or
Mayor, this is David Salazar, and I couldn't agree more 100% with Judge Stano, Commissioner Gayos. These documents have been in place way before my time, and it truly outlines everybody's responsibilities on what needed to happen. We work hand in hand with the MPO, the city, and the county to get this project. We know that the funding allocation for this project is coming out of the MPO Cat $7 that is going to be stockpiled. To say that this is a delay in the project is, I see it as TxDOT picking up on the responsibilities of others to continue this project and postponing it any further. It's still scheduled to be on track. All we're doing now is we're taking over the design, we're taking over the construction, and we are going to take over the environmental process so we can quit dealing with third parties and move forward on the project. I don't know what else to do other than take the right of way to finish the project, but to stand here and say that there was a breakdown of communication or there was responsibilities, those agreements have been in order, they have been in place. Those agreements define everybody's responsibilities, when it should have happened and how it should have happened. And here we are, and all I've done for the past 3 years is we've tried to move this project forward. You have the letters coming to you, Mayor and County Judge, that will explain our takeover of the environmental, so we can get it done and get it to the correct construction date of letting, so we can make this project happen. But I applaud and I am sensitive to your comments, Commissioner Perez, Commissioner Galo, and Judge Sanoti Hanina. Moving forward, as the best option that we see fit to get this project to letting is to let us go ahead and finish out the environmental, let us finish out the design, let us handle the construction, and then moving forward in the future, hopefully take this right away into a non-system project.
Thank you very much, Mr. Salazar, and thank you for those words as well. So if I understand you correctly, then this will not delay or expand the timeline. The timeline will be maintained, and thanks to you stepping in, and of course, TxDOT is now basically absorbing some of the costs that would have cost us for someone else some money, and of course it's costing TxDOT money. So thank you for that. With that in mind, do we have anything else? I know what.
If I may, Mayor, I just wanted to respond to David. I just wanted to make sure that I meant no offense to TxDOT. I just think what I am asking though, if if you could just make us aware, like say, hey, this agreement's lapsed and we haven't gotten anywhere. That's all I'm asking, because we're not involved in the day-to-day operations, but we certainly can make it or expedite the situation when we're aware of what's going on. So that's all I was asking.
Your point is well taken, sir. Thank you. Anything else? I know there was a question on the right of way. Yeah, can we speak to that now? Unless you all want to continue touching on this other item. But let's move on to the right of way. We have Ramon Chavez.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, this is Richard Seitz with Danamon again.
Oh, yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
We have met all of our commitments on this project in a timely fashion. I would make a point here that the county and the city agreed to conduct this activity in a concurrent basis, which has taken place. The work that we're talking about here is in the HR portion of the whole route. And that's why I sent the supplemental to Verity Corp instead of the county. The county has a contract. We have an active contract with the county. The comment about the contract being canceled between TxDOT is true, but that's the reason why that supplemental went to Verity Corp and went to the city, because it's in the HR portion of the roadway. except for a couple of detention ponds, which is a minor portion of this work. It's the archaeological that costs the money. Just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, let me ask you this, and you don't have to answer that if it doesn't pertain to our business, but are you claiming monies owed to you, to Danabov, by either this company? Is it Very what now? What's the name of the company that you're dealing with?
Verity Corp, which has, I think they have a 360 agreement, if I quoted it right, with the city.
Okay, so going back to my question, are monies owed or claimed by you? Or are you okay with it as far as this point is concerned?
The county is going to take care of the portion of the money that I'm owed. There will be, if the TxDOT picks up the environmental and we don't do this supplemental work, then they're going to pick up the whole completion of all the rest of it, the revision of the EA and everything, or just this archaeological study?
Okay.
Our contract with Verity Corp is based on 2 milestones, and we completed milestone 1 before the end of last year. We're into milestone 2, which is completion of this and submittal of a final EA. Well, we had already submitted a draft on all this work. So yes, I'm on the Verity Corp. I will be going to Verity Corp for that money.
Okay, but not the county and not the city, obviously, correct? I mean, your claim is towards Very Corp.
I have some outstanding invoices that are due from the county, but the county I have a contract. My contract is not with TxDOT, it's with the county.
Yeah, but you all, whoever's not speaking, but you all mute your mics, please, so we can hear this clearly. Thank you. Go ahead, sir. So who owes you the money then? Who are you looking towards getting paid?
I have some outstanding invoices to the county, which the county has agreed to pay. They will not get reimbursed by TxDOT. I also have work completed towards the second milestone with Verity Corp. And I will be looking for Verity Corp for payment for the work I've completed to date.
Okay, thank you. So just as long as the city of Laredo is not involved, so it's a question with the county and that Verity Corp. I'm sorry.
Mr. Richards, just for you to know, we'll definitely on our end forgive us that we haven't sent you the payment, but you get your payment, sir. No problem with that.
Okay, I guess moving on, Mr. Chavez, Ramon, do you have any information on the status of title on the right-of-way?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the Commission. Ramon Chavez, City Engineer. As of earlier today, I received a report from Mr. Nicholas Van Steenberg, who represents Verde Corporation, in regards to all the surveys and meets and bounds have been completed. He also informed me that the land has been exchanged already and signed off, and it's just a matter of a recording document. He's expecting that to happen later this week. That's my report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. When can we expect title from Verde Corp?
As soon as this gets executed and recorded, I'll continue having that conversation with Mr. Van Steenberg, and immediately after to start working on those documents there.
Okay, and who will be the owner of that right of way? Ultimately, is it both the city and the county, or TxDOT, or?
I'm going to say that's going to have to be also discussed, Mayor, as we move on, depending on what's going to happen, whether TxDOT's going to take over or not.
Okay.
TxDOT has already said they were going to, so I think.
Yeah.
I was just waiting. This is David Salazar. I was just waiting for Commissioner Galo to make that comment. Thank you, Commissioner. But he is correct. We are looking in the future towards the future. Mayor Sines, at this point, in order to get this project completed on time and trying to acquire the right of way and move forward, it would have delayed the project. So we took the approach that let us get through this, let us build it, let's get it done, and then we can start working on the right of way of transfer to TxDOT in the future. But to try to acquire the right of way now and get all these issues done in a timely manner would have delayed the project any further, which I chose not to take that route.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Mayor, this is Tito Gonzalez again. I know there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people are working together. And by no means, are we trying to throw anyone under the bus. Even with that being said and everything that's going on, the project is still on schedule based on the August 2023 letter we have. And that date, just so everyone understands, that date was set due to the funding that was required to be provided to this project through the Category 7 funds. So right now we're looking at about $52 million in construction costs, and we're rolling over about $6.2 million every year in Cat 7 that the MPO had allocated to this project. So that is the target date based on the funds becoming available. All we're trying to do is make sure that we do not move that date any further so that we have environmental, the plans, and all the utilities relocated so that this project is not delayed any further.
Thank you very much, Mr. Winter. Anyone else? Any other matter on this agenda item? And if not, thank you very much. We don't have to say this, but by next meeting, please have an update, and so we'll keep close tabs on this. Thank you very much. And moving on to reports and presentations. Let's see, status report on the RMA. Do we have an additional report by the RMA?
Mayor, it's Jed Brown. I know that Tony sent Kirby an update project by project. Kirby, do you have that?
Yes, that was included in the packet.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that's.
Yeah, it's been a long meeting. If y'all want to just look at what was submitted in the packet, that'll update you on the various projects that we're working on. And any of the members of the policy committee or any elected officials are welcome to contact me at any time if they'd like to visit on projects. We're an RMA for the entire county and city, so if y'all need me, please find me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Okay, seeing that there's no other agenda item, let's see, director's comments. Do we have any comments?
Yeah, sure. Just a few quick ones. Just wanted to share a couple staffing and a couple project updates. For staff, you're aware that we've moved around things just a bit, and I believe we've reported this previously, but Gracie Briones has been selected as the MPO planning manager, and she is helping me with this team that we put together. Right now we have one, in addition to her and myself and our admin, a couple of admin, we have one Mendive who is one of our planners for the MPO, but we have two planners from the planning department, two of our long-range planners, Jason Inaosa and our new one, Julio Nino, who are both long-range planners that are being contracted to the MPO until we finish our recruiting process and getting some additional full-time. Now, they will always, because we have the current benefit of working together so closely, I can move staff around and contract over time. They'll be working on projects for the long haul with the MPO, but we do still have two positions out to hire for full-time for the MPO, and so we're still looking for additional staff. But I just wanted to introduce Julio, or have Julio introduce himself. Julio, do you want to say hi to the policy committee and the staff that are here?
Yes, good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Julio Nino. Just joining in from for long range and to the MPO, and happy to be here.
Yes, good to hear from you and good to see you, and welcome, Julio.
Thank you, Mayor.
We've really got a great team together, and one of the things that I wanted to show what we're working on and that we'll be bringing to you shortly is we're really starting to think strategic about the projects that we're doing, not just what we've got coming up right now, but also long-term. In the past, when we brought you a work plan, like we'll be bringing you this year, it's just one year of projects. What we're moving to, if you can see my screen, is looking long-term strategic, 5 years out. What are the plans? What are the studies that we want to do? And we're taking a stab at this initially as staff, but we want to bring this as a presentation to to you, to the policy committee, and get input from county commissioners, city council members, so that you're determining the funds that we're using for planning long-term. What are things you want to look at? What are areas of the city or county transportation related that you want to study? And so we're taking a stab at what we have to do in terms of compliance with the state and the federal government, and then the other additional ideas of things we want to study and how we want to use our planning funds to look long-term at transportation in the area. And then we're going to get your approval and get your input and add any additional projects and program those in. So instead of just having a 1-year kind of reactionary approach, we want to have a 5-year long-term approach, be very strategic about our staffing, our resources, and our planning. And in addition to that, we want to partner with, I'm glad Jed's still here, we want to partner with the MPA, the RMA even more closely than we already do, and maybe share dollars, us for them, them for us, so that we're, for instance, the North Laredo transportation study that was completed by them, and that was mostly before my time, and we would have loved to have been much more closely involved in that and helped out either directly with funding or with our staff. The time that we have is with the team that we build and the expertise that we're building. So those are the things we're working on. We will bring you, we've got several plans to bring you this year, and we want to bring you that strategic long-term approach, long-term look very shortly here within the next month or two.
Thank you, Mr. Steinman. Do we have any other business for this committee? And if not, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a motion? Y'all want to stay further? No.
So move, Mayor.
Okay, there's a motion to adjourn, seconded by whom?
Second.
Okay, and seconded by Ruben Gutierrez, council member. Discussion, none heard. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion, any sign? None heard. Motion carries unanimously. Yeah, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.